What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers That Filters podcast, episode 132. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson. Tonight, I got myself a good old Oberon. I was beer shopping, and I saw it. I'm like, you know what? I haven't had enough Oberon this summer. Let's get another six-pack of these bad boys.
Probably going out of style here soon.
I know. I think I've only bought it one other time, so I'm like, I got to get my Oberon in before.
I always buy it way too much when it first comes out in like March or April, and then towards the end of the summer, I have like oh shit, gotta get it before it goes away, and like not much in between, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like I bought an 18-pack of it in like the early spring and like maybe like April or something like that, and then ever since then I haven't had one. Because I was just like, I've drank enough of these.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I did last summer. I remember buying the big one and then just blowing through it and never doing it again.
Yeah.
I will say, it was sitting right next to Soft Parade. I'm like, ooh, maybe I get Soft Parade. I'm like, no.
You can get Soft Parade all year round, you know?
Exactly.
Oh, shit, I'm next.
Yeah.
Joseph's gone, so let me say I got the classic PBR. I had good beer that I actually bought, and I drank it all last week, so still got a 6-pack of Tall Boys.
Hey, yo.
PBR.
Pretty good.
I'm drinking the same thing that I was drinking last week. Dogfish Head, 60-minute IPA.
Classic.
I am thinking that next week I should have more fun beers, mainly because I just bought a lot of fun beers for this weekend. And I think that we'll probably have some leftovers. But regardless, I'm excited to try them.
If it's a good trip, you won't have any leftovers.
Well, right? But I don't know how many beers Justin's bringing. That's the only thing.
I see.
So,
let's see. That's fair.
I don't know.
The only one way to find out. So we'll see what you got next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. Stay tuned.
All right, welcome back to the podcast, everyone. As Gabe mentioned, Joseph's out of town this week. He is on a little backpacking trip with his girlfriend, so should be back next week. But yeah, welcome back to the podcast. As always, you can find our show on Mondays on YouTube and podcast services. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at ewfpodcast, and also please follow us on Twitch at ewf_podcast. We've been getting some tricklings of new followers recently, so that's always good. We got some people pop in for our gaming stream on Monday, which is great. So make sure to check that out. But yeah, let's get into it with our weekly anecdotes / updates. Gabe, what do you got for me?
All right, this is super nerdy, but I started a revolution at work. Okay, last Wednesday probably. I was watching this Netflix show called Netflix Explained, and the premise is they explain shit, but it's really interesting and it's really like calming, and it's like, I don't know, they do all sorts of different topics. But this one was on a game of chess. I was like, chess is kind of lame. And I watched the video and I was like, I kind of want to play some fucking chess. So what do? You download the app, you start playing chess. And then I started telling people at work. I started telling Tim, and I'm not lying, I've got like the entire team that I'm on playing chess right now. And it is so fucking fun. It's like, that's pretty much all I've been doing the last like week in my free time, is just like fucking playing chess with like people that I work with. And
well, you watched Queen's Gambit too, right?
I did watch it, but I watched it after. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people watched it and then played chess and like, oh, I'll be a genius. And then they aren't. I'm not good at it, but it is such a good fucking game. Like, I mean, it's lasted thousands of years, but it's like so well balanced and fun. And like, if you fuck up, it's on your fault. And I don't know. It's just a good game. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is you guys should play chess with me, because it's a good fucking game.
I'm scared, man. I'm scared of chess because, I mean, what's funny, Gabe, is like what you're going through. A lot of people, like you said, went through when Queen's Gambit came out. However many months ago that was, a year ago. And so it's just funny hearing you like, guys, chess is good. It's like, yeah, people keep realizing that as different things come out, you know, and the media. But I'm scared to get into it because I'm worried I'm gonna. It's like, if I don't know all the strategies, it's not worth me playing at all. Like, that's kind of my trap that I have sometimes, where it's like I
But the
have to
problem is, chess
strategy.
is a game that is thousands of years old, and strategy
I
is
know
still coming out. Like, I don't know. I think it's
that's the
totally
problem.
fine not having to like quote unquote study it and still play it.
Yeah, I
It's
suppose.
it's like
Yeah, I
it's like
mean,
Rocket League. The skill ceiling's limitless, right? But
Mhm.
I'm just gonna
you
feel
can
dumb if some
all
person
play
does
it.
a Barkovian Heimlich on me in the middle. Like I don't even know what that was.
I was playing someone at work, and he's like, "Oh, I just did the accelerated dragon," and I was like, "That's made up. It's a real thing." Uh,
No, no. What is it? What is it called in Naruto? Jacob, is
Oh,
it
the Rising
rising?
Silver,
Right
Rising
there.
Silver.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's with shogi, which is Japanese
Yeah.
chess, which is slightly different but very similar.
uh, yeah,
Uh,
no, it's Tony, guys, just play it for like a couple days, and then get back to me.
I'll
Gabe,
think
the
about it. I got enough addiction right now and other stuff in my
Next
life.
episode will be about chess. It's a good game.
Gabe, the only thing that I can think of when you talking about chess is like, do you like that meme of like the dude like crying? He's like, bro, please, just try chess, bro, please. I'm begging you. Just like it's a fun game, I promise, bro. Please, just try it, please, bro.
Yes, that is me.
Gabe, I'll make
Uh,
you a deal. I'll make you a deal. I'll try chess if you try One Piece. Pretty
isn't
equal
that
amount of
like
time.
what? Isn't that
Oh.
like 900 episodes or something?
Yeah, but you could spend that much time studying chess, so
I'm not gonna put that much time into it. I just want to play my friends, and my
I'll think
coworkers.
about it. I'll think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been pretty funny, like playing other people at work, because I mean we're all in the same group, and I have a couple. There's another group that's very close to us that I've also kind of infected a few of them and played them. And it's really funny just to hear like at lunch, it's gone from like normal shit to like talking about who beat who and who's winning against who, and like our
Mhm.
manager will sit down with us, and he just fucking eats it up. He's just
You guys
so
should put up
interested.
like a whiteboard like in your office and have
I
like
know.
like matchups and shit. Like
Dude,
have a
I
little
literally
tournament.
told him, I'm like, I'm gonna make a tournament. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
make it happen because it's just so fucking funny.
And Gabe is at like 10 wins and he's like behind or whatever. He's so funny.
Yeah, no, it's a good time. That's
I think
pretty
it's
much
really
what I
off the
do.
podcast, but friend of the show, Perkins, big chess guy. So you should
Yeah, I haven't talked to him
launch
yet.
him.
I'm not friends with him on Snapchat, only Discord. So
I can give you a Snapchat.
maybe I
Get
should do that. Maybe he should kick
battle.
my ass. But I don't know.
Well, do you remember in the bullshit bracket when like I think it was
He
him
did
versus
chess.
Jacob,
Hmm.
right? And like he
Yeah.
was like,
You could
Jacob,
probably.
by the
Oh, go
by the
ahead.
time by the time you got done or before you got done with your argument, I finished the game of chess and won. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I died when that
That was so good.
happened.
I feel like if you went back to it, you could probably hear me saying chess is lame or something, and like
Probably.
voted
Yeah.
for Jacob. But then like I started playing, and I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of layers to this. It's pretty good.
I do need to
Uh,
shout out. I shouted out after I watched the Queen's Gambit, but if you
mhm.
like the Queen's Gambit a lot and you want some more of that kind of content, on Netflix there's an anime called March Comes in Like a Lion, which is a very similar show, but it's about shogi instead of chess.
Mm,
Very good. Would recommend.
okay.
But yeah, speaking of addictions, Gabe, I've had a few of my own recently.
Okay.
Um, okay. So there's a game called Genshin Impact. All right,
Oh
Yeah, you were
and
playing it just before this podcast.
it came out like a year or so ago. And when it came out, it was kind of a meme in like the gaming community. It's like, oh, it's a free to play anime game that's like got really bad microtransactions. Like
What
get this
kind of
shit out of
game is
here.
this?
I'll tell you,
Oh
it's
god,
essentially anime Breath of the Wild. So you have like a
with
open world.
microtransactions.
Yeah, because how they get you, Gabe, is it's a big open world and you can have four characters equipped at the same time, and every character has like an element or whatever. So let's say like fire, water, grass,
So it's Avatar.
lightning, kind of. But they get with the hook with the combat is really fun is like the elements interact with each other. So say I have my fire person out, light somebody on fire, switch to my ice person, do an ice blast, and it triggers the melt combination, and it does like a ton more damage. So like there's a bunch of like interactions between all the elements. You're switching between doing stuff, and it's really fun. And the world is Breath of the Wild like. There's a lot of little puzzles scattered around. There's dungeons. There's treasure chests you can find. There's always something to do, and it's just very fun and satisfying. And where the microtransactions come in is that you can do like a lot, like a loot box to get new characters. So people called it a
Mm,
waifu casino. So there'll be like limited time events where it's like, all right, you got to put in this money to get more chances to get this character you really want, you know? But anyway, I always thought it was like a meme. I'm not playing this game. And then one of the streamers I follow started playing it one night. It's just kind of like, let's see how this is. And he's like, this is low key good. And I was watching him play, and like, it does look low key good. And then like, it's free. Maybe I'll just give it a download. Guys, I've been playing every single day since I got it. It's so good.
how much money have you put into it?
Zero. And I don't think I'm gonna have to. Like, you actually like get enough in-game currency to still gamble to the amount you need to. And you don't even really need to get new characters if you don't want to.
I like how you already admitted that it's gambling.
It's gambling. It's fair gambling.
You're like, I can already hit the slot machines enough.
Hmm. Exactly. So I don't expect myself putting money into it. But even if I
Okay.
did, if I put in $20, I'd not be mad. 'Cause it's a very like large, polished, good game for free. So anyway, been addicted to that. I can't stop playing it. And then other addiction, we were talking before the podcast, the new Churches album, Screen Violence, so
Hmm.
fucking good. Can't stop listening to it. And I feel like it's not getting enough recognition right now because a million albums came out in the span of like 2 weeks. There's Lord, Halsey, Kanye. I feel like I'm missing one. There's a lot of big names, and Drake's I think this week. So a lot of big names are releasing right now, and I feel like Church is getting lost in the shuffle. So go check out this album; it's super fucking good.
It is good.
Um, so yeah, that's what I'm doing this week.
I
I
don't
got nothing
even
new on
know what
classical
type of
stuff.
music churches is. I'm not gonna lie.
It's like pop electronica kind of. That's
Okay.
what I would classify it as.
Yeah,
Okay.
you might have heard a song or two on our like shared playlists.
I know
That
I've heard
and
some
Jordan.
songs. Like if I heard the song, I'd be like, "Oh, I recognize it," but I don't know if I would be like, "Ah, that's a church's song." You know what I mean?
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got nothing crazy happening in work or class lately. So just class being class, like teachers having technology issues, and I want to like punch through a wall because it's so frustrating. But yeah, that's pretty standard college stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Classic college. Dude.
Yeah. Dayton, what
It
about
is.
you?
Well, I've got a few very different things. One is that I started a new running plan. I am training my mile time. So I built my plan. It's going to be 9 weeks long. And I did my baseline test on Monday and I ran a 5:39. So I'm pretty happy with that time already. But if I can
Very
get it,
solid.
even faster, preferably sub 5 eventually. I don't think I'll get it after this cycle. Um,
I don't know.
but
I think you might be surprised. I don't want to get your hopes up too high, but if you're already at 540, like you
except
can
like
put in the work.
that's like a big like gap though for a mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm not afraid of putting in that work. Um, and then outside of that, I've been working on another Spotify playlist, like an automated one to make, basically take 50 of my random saved songs. So I've been programming that in Python, and just learning more about Python and everything like that right now. And it's been fucking fantastic. I forgot how much I enjoyed programming.
Mhm.
Not done quite yet though. It's sort of like a
Dude,
sequel to my 50 most recent saved songs playlist that I made. But
I feel like it's fun when it works. You know,
dude, well, that's the
like
thing.
when
Last
you
night,
start realizing how it handles stuff and it's not the way you think it works. It's
hmm
like fucking frustrating.
it is, and I was having that last night. I was literally like reclined in my chair. I mean, like the audio listeners can't see. I was like just staring up at my ceiling for like 45 minutes, like running through how this code should be working and like
Mhm.
why is it not working. And it turns out because I wasn't like clearing this one like variable every time through this loop when I should
Yeah.
have been. uh
Dude, it happens to me all the time where like I program a lot for like
mhm,
my job and I have to update something and I'm like, why is this not fucking working? And I'll like fuck off for a minute or like take a shit or like come back, get a
right,
drink, whatever, come back and I'm like, oh, I'm so stupid. Like
yeah.
let's step back down, like I don't know how I didn't see this before.
Hmm. Yeah. But it's really satisfying when you debug that on your own. You don't need to like find some
Ask
some
anyone.
Stack Overflow answer to help you guide you through there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then one day, when I was home, I was just curious about how network network extenders, like how bad they are for your internet speeds. So like we have 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, right? Dual band on our router, and then we have an extender as well to get up to the third floor. And I'm just gonna run you through the numbers. I did 5 tests.
You just
for
ran
each
an
one.
experiment in your house, just try to test the shit out.
Yeah, I was just curious. So the 5 gigahertz. So we have 300 megabit internet here. So on the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, it averaged 207 down, 21 up, which is pretty good for Wi-Fi, like all things considered. The 2.4 gigahertz was 65.5 up, 20.8 down or up. What did I say? 65.5
65
down, 20.8 up. So it's like, what is that? Like 3 times slower than the 5 gigahertz. And here's the part that I found super surprising. Dude, the network extenders absolutely fuck your internet speeds. Like I knew that it would like tank them a little bit, but the 5 gigahertz extended was down to 40 megabits per second, which is down
God damn.
down like, what is that? I can't do the fucking math. 20.
That's
it's
like
like 20%.
Is this one of the outlet ones?
It is one of the outlet ones. And then the 2.4 gigahertz is 21 megabits per second. Like that is absolutely nuts. I didn't realize it was going to be that bad.
Not that I know a thing or two about networking. I'm just spitballing here. My job title is not network engineer. I did not get a degree with networking in the name. You should just buy another Wi-Fi access point and give it the same network name, and they'll work together. So it'll just actively swap between the two, and you'll have a way better radio.
We have a dual router modem. Does that change anything?
No, so right now in my house, we have Tim's router, it's not an access point, it's just a box that does the routing. And then we have an access point like behind this couch that you can't see. And then in the basement, we have my old router modem combo, but it has an AP mode, which doesn't do routing. So they both have the same network ID, and they get coverage both ways. It's pretty sick.
Interesting. Might have to look into doing that.
I helped Cooper do it when he moved into his place last year.
Yeah, I might need some help. I might need some help because I only have like 3 brain cells, and like 2 of them are working on that Spotify script. So
sure. Well, I can lend my 3. So if you have any questions after the podcast, obviously.
For sure.
So I don't know if this is the same thing, Gabe, but speaking of networking, I was playing games with Perk this last weekend, and he was telling me his setup, and I had never heard of this. But and so in the place he's living, the router's like downstairs and he's upstairs, so it's too far for Ethernet. But Wi-Fi is shit. So we got, I forgot what it's called. Basically, you plug the router into a wall, and then the internet signal travels to the power lines, and then he had a wired connection from the outlet in his room to his computer.
I'm blanking on the name of those.
Isn't it like Power Wire or something like that?
It might. Yeah, I think Power Wire is what it is. I've heard mixed results because it depends on how the house is built, and also it's not an Ethernet cable, obviously.
Right. I mean, it's better than Wi-Fi, but it's not as good as Ethernet.
I've heard they're pretty good on like if the house is wired all right, that they work pretty consistently.
Yeah, I mean, he said it's been working fine, but I was like, the fuck? Like, you could do that? Like, that's crazy.
It does sound like magic, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird, man.
And then the last thing is that I just got tasked with building our department's intranet webpage. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
Like, you get to, like, make it on, like, Squarespace or, like,
like HTML.
HTML, okay.
Yeah, and like, do all like the shit with CSS. Like I said, I have 3 brain cells, and I am too dumb to understand this, so I have to do some learning.
How'd you get assigned to that project?
Because I am the group's computer guy.
You're the youngest.
Oh no,
that's rough, dude.
No, honestly, I kind of like it because it gives me an excuse to mess around with other shit.
Branch out.
I just think it's really stupid how they assign it to you. It's like, oh, you're young and you kind of know how to work technology. But design an entire website.
I don't know. It's like, did I volunteer? I don't know if I volunteered for it. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a while. But
You should use Tutorials Point. They have like every language and like how to do everything in each language. It's pretty nice. Good website.
Tutorials Point. Okay, I'll check it out. Hopefully,
If
it's
I can give
not
you some
blocked at
advice,
my what?
you should do a black background with dark gray text.
Okay.
Should do like a MySpace background where you, you have like one pattern that like fucks up so you can't read the text.
Right.
They look like an early '90s website. That'd be
Oh,
ideal.
dude, if you like purposely made it look like the 90s, that would be badass.
We have to
Mhm.
follow style guide.
Style guide.
Yeah.
That'll make it easier for you.
Even
Yeah.
for like like the internal page.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
Go from
our
there.
work just uses like a Microsoft SharePoint or whatever, which is like super easy. It's just like you click all the links and it does it all for you.
Right. Yeah. No, this is not going to be like that.
Yeah. I
luck
wish
to
you luck. Yeah.
We'll see.
It's gonna be a lot of Stack Overflow, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's
As
gonna
it
be
always
rough.
is. All right, well, let's get into the topic. So this is one of my topics. I've been sitting on it for a hot minute because I've gone through a lot of iterations in my mind. Long story short, I've been having an existential crisis a lot recently on what's the meaning of life?
As you
What am
do.
I supposed to do with my life? What am I good at? What am I interested in? How do I combine those things into a job? Um, you know,
You know what I call that?
Hmm.
A weeknight.
Yeah, I was about to say Monday night.
So I was thinking about people whose content I consume a lot, right? And then also just like movies and stuff. And I was thinking about the idea of like dreams and like having a dream, right? Because if you think about like content that's made for kids, like Pixar movies or kids TV shows or any books, any kid-centered thing, 9 times out of 10, the message is going to be believe in yourself, follow your dreams, right?
Mhm.
And like that's a fine message, I got nothing against it. But I was realizing, do I have a dream? Have I ever had a dream? Like have I ever like wanted to do or be something so badly that I would like, chase it? And I was thinking again about like YouTubers I watched some of them like knew from super young age they wanted to do something in that field because they would make home videos or shoot stuff with their friends, stuff like that. Or a lot of musicians you hear like, oh yeah, I like knew pretty quick that I wanted to do this, And obviously that's like a very specific set of people. Like that's gonna be biased, right? Like people who succeeded, not everyone
Yeah,
who
you don't
tried.
hear the
Right.
people who say follow their dream who failed because they don't have a platform to say they failed.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I kind of want to get into the should you follow your dream section at some point, but I want to start by just asking you guys, did you ever have a dream? And if not, what do you do if you don't have a dream?
I can start. It'll be very
Yeah, go for it.
pessimistic. Okay, pessimistic is a bad word. I think my worldview on dreams is different than most. I think I've never had a dream, and and that's fine. Like I'm not like, I mean, maybe part of me is like, that would be nice if I had like a calling or whatever. But I realize that I've said this on the podcast multiple times before that I hop around areas of interest of things all the time. I literally got into chess last week and it's obsessed my life for a week. And, I play guitar like every day for like 6 months straight. And then I went into mountain bike 2-3 times a week, 6 months straight. So I don't think that a dream, like one thing, has ever been a thing that I find appealing. And I'm okay with that because the thing that I'm doing now allows me to experience and try the things that I like to jump around to, Like, granted, I spend at least 40 hours a week at one place, right?
Right.
It's not like my dream job, but I don't hate it. And the people I work with are really cool. So it also gives me the money to be able to do mountain bike trips like I'm doing this weekend, or I don't know, go do other things that I want to buy a guitar and try that. So I'm cool with that. And I think if dreams, like I was saying before, it's hard to like follow a dream when you don't hear the people who failed. You're only hearing the people who are either the best in class, Like it's so easy to be like the top of your whatever discipline and be like, just follow your dreams, man. It's easy. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're literally the best of that. Like, of course, you're
Mhm.
gonna say follow your dreams because it worked for you. But there
Yeah.
are people who like, I think, not foolishly, but will follow a dream thinking they're going to get a similar result, and it can put them in a tough position because they aren't being very realistic about A, their talent, or B, the outcome. Like, I think at some point some people might not have the talent, or they might have the drive, but they might have like not have the natural talent. They think that'll get them there. And sometimes I think that's just not enough. You could have as much drive in the world as you want, but there's some people who are just naturally better at things. They can get to
And
places you
that's
can't.
true, but also that's not what you're saying for you, right? You're saying you're neither category.
Yeah.
Like I never even had a dream at all. I think that's interesting. I feel like I'm in the same boat because, but that, like, because that's the story you never hear told. Like whenever you're watching a piece of media, it's always either person who follows their dreams and makes it, or it's the older person like, look, kid, I wanted to do this and I couldn't do it for this and this reason, so you
Mm-hmm.
should follow your dream. You don't get the person that's just like, yeah, I never really had a dream. I've just been living my life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's an
But I think
interesting
that's
space to
most
explore.
people, though. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I just never hear people talk about it at all ever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, Dayton, what about you?
I feel like, I guess, yeah, I feel like my dreams are more just like, I wouldn't even call them like dreams because like I feel like when I hear the word dream, I think of something that like is out of touch or like it's like
Unobtainable.
yeah,
Mhm.
unobtainable. So like for
It's
me,
more of a goal.
yeah, it's like a short-term goal for me. So like I don't know, I feel like when we do our year compasses and like on like our bucket list, I would probably consider those like dreams, right? Where
Right.
it's like one of mine was like pack raft across, Lake Desor on Isle Royal, and it's like I did that. And but like I wouldn't really call it a dream per se so much as just like a goal because I was able to take, you know, obtainable steps towards it. Um, and I don't know. And I feel like even in some aspects, like with work, like working at the GLRC all through college pretty much, I was like, man, I think it'd be sick to have like a job like working, with like something that's like goes in or on the water or something like that. So then I picked up a minor in naval systems engineering, and then I started doing like my enterprise, which was like similar projects, and by all accounts, like I you know what do you even call it? Like, got to my dream, like found like
Right.
Achieve
succeeded,
the goal. I don't know.
achieved it. Yeah, like I
Hmm.
I work I work with submarines. Like that's like it's on all accounts. It's like that's like the peak of that dream, right?
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like it's it just like I don't know. I feel like once you hit your dream, you
Like, what's
always like
next?
yeah, you're always like what's next? Like what's the point of having like such like a long term overarching dream in your life? But
Mm.
yeah, I
I
guess long story
remember.
short, I don't have like a long overarching dream. I just have like maybe like 2 or 3 year long goals that I'll strive for. But
Right.
Yeah, I think the definition of dream is kind of goofy. Like, we all
Well,
have
what if we
goals.
reword it to like I think you said the word calling, which I think is maybe what I'm more getting at to some extent. 'Cause I feel like calling is like realizing that there's something you're really interested in and you think you can be really good at, and that's what, like you said, Gabe. It might not always work out, but like musicians is a great example. Like I would assume for a lot of musicians when they're young and they're first like trying out music, it like clicks for them pretty quickly, and they're okay, like I want to do this for as long as I can and hopefully be able to get paid for it, you know. Um, and I guess that's kind of what I'm alluding to. And yeah, I've just been thinking about this in the context of work, right? Because I feel like I still have a very pretty much no idea like what my dream job even is or like what I want to be doing at the end of the day after I finish my schooling, which is frustrating because it's like I just want I would love for somebody to come up and tell me like, hey, we've analyzed your life and your psychological profile and everything,
Your
and this is the
smooth
perfect
brain.
job for you. Yeah. It's like, and I hate having to figure that shit out myself because it's just super frustrating. I feel like there's no right answer because there's been so many times in my life where I think I'll like something and then I start doing it and it's like, well, this is not really what I thought it was going to be.
mm-hmm.
And doing that over and over again, it's like you start to feel like, okay, was there anything that I actually like want to do or I think would be good? but yeah, it's frustrating. And upon like further reflection of the idea of like a dream or a calling, the only thing I could think of that I've wanted for a long time that I still really want, and I would probably classify it as a dream, is getting married, which sounds kind of cheesy, but I do really desire that, like the idea of like having a partner that you can rely on and support, and that will kind of always be there. That sounds
Mm-hmm.
like super amazing to me, and that's like the only thing I like truly like really really want and will endure pain to get. Because I think that's part of it too. I've thought about like to me a dream or a calling is something that you're willing to endure a certain amount of pain to
Mm-hmm.
achieve. And there's nothing else I can think of that I'd be willing to take like a lot of pain to try to get.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like I gave you talk about the guitar, like you can do it for a long time, but you can still there's still times when it gets like rough and it's hard to stick with it. Like I have this keyboard behind me. I haven't played it in like months because it just gets hard at some point to like stick with it, or you get to
Yeah.
a song that's like really annoying and it's just like my willpower is a lot lower than I thought it was.
Hmm.
So yeah.
You
Well,
know,
yeah. I don't know if it's even just willpower, like entirely. I think some of it is. Some people always can push through. I mean, I think that could be discipline. I mean, there's times where like I would play and I'm like, I don't really want to play, but I'm gonna go anyways. But at the same time, it's like, are you enjoying it? You know,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things to consider. I don't know.
it's kind of funny that you like bring this up because like literally I think on like Sunday, yeah, I think on like Sunday I was having like a similar like existential crisis, and
Hmm.
I was like, doing some reading, like reading some like people's like blogs and stuff like that, being like, what's like your life purpose and stuff like that, and like to be honest, like I don't think that I have a life purpose. Like I think my life purpose is to just work for as little amount of time as possible and then just like, I don't know, just hang out with people. um, but it was kind of funny because like when you're talking about like willpower and stuff, one of the like questions that I came upon was like basically like what shit do you think that you can deal with better than anybody else? And then that will like
Mm.
kind of point you in like which like shit can you like put up with, like can you tolerate the best more than like the
Yeah.
typical person, and that it can kind of like guide you in like an area where you should be like pretty successful because you're willing to put in the effort for it.
I didn't
And
think about that. It's like reversing the whole interest and aptitude on its head and saying like, no, like yeah, what's like the worst thing you definitely like, you're the best at dealing with.
right, like what can you deal with better than anybody else can? Like what are the things in your life that you do that other people are like, what the fuck, like I would have given up like 50 days ago on this, but
Hmm.
you're still doing it.
So what you're saying
um
is I need to get a job binging anime because I can lay on that couch and not drink water for longer than anybody I know.
maybe it's a become an anime reviewer.
Maybe.
Trust me, like being completely serious, Dayton, I've tried to rationalize that out in my head of like, okay, like of like my interest, the things that I am most passionate about, I want to talk the most about are like
Hmm.
video games, the video game industry, and like anime, and just shows in general. But there's no route in my head that I could see that being a feasible option as to make money, because
Right.
anything would just take so long to get up and running, and even then, it's such a gamble.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's just that, and that's frustrating. But like, you have to be realistic at some point. Like Gabe was saying, like
Hmm.
as much as I would, or even like Twitch streaming, like one of it is like it would take forever to get there, but also like would I even be good at it? Like if I was going to become like a video essayist on YouTube, would I be good at it? Like would I be a funny editor? Would I even want to be able to put in all those hours learning how to edit? Like
Right.
just that road doesn't seem feasible to me either. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I
But
I remember and this like topic for some reason was like super familiar to me. Besides like my weekly existential dread as well. That I feel like I also have a lot. But when I was leaving Copper Harbor, I listened to a new podcast called The Hidden Brain. Super popular. You guys have probably heard of it.
Hmm.
Um, just this guy brings up a bunch of like, I don't know, a lot of scientists and just talks about like how people think about things and how people think about themselves. And for some reason, this one found me. It was the only one I listened to, and it was called "Cultivating Your Purpose." And I just pulled up the description because honestly, I forgot some of it because I was driving in when traffic was getting hectic, and I was more focused on the traffic than the podcast. But I remember a few key points, and I'm gonna keep it brief so I'm not rehashing a podcast that's better produced and better researched and better worded than what I'm gonna do. But I think the most interesting part that I found from that podcast is he said that purpose is never found sitting on the couch. Like you don't like sit and think about it is what he's trying to get at. Like this guy was that he brought on was like a scientist of purpose. I'm doing air quotes, which I don't know how you get that title, but he was trying to make the argument that you don't develop purpose by thinking about it. That there's like 3 ways you can develop purpose, and for the life of me, I can only remember a few of them. One of them being that it finds you, like something comes up in your life, and you're like, "This is it." And the other ones being like very generic, like very like broad strokes of like I want to be like this type of person or something like that, like an epiphany, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the most interesting part that I found about him explaining this is he was doing experiments on people contrasting goals versus purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And he found that people who have goals, that have set goals, which I think I'd say myself and the other 2 people on this podcast are very goal oriented. It can be counterproductive to be goal oriented to find a purpose because you're focusing on the goals and not on the purpose, and that it like makes it really, really hard to find a purpose. It's very interesting podcast. You should take a listen.
That makes sense to me because I think part of the reason why I never developed like a dream or whatever is because my entire life have just been my entire thing is just to stay on the path of school. Like that's the only thing that matters. Like because the idea is you go to elementary school, middle school, high school, and then you go to college, and then you get a degree and you get a job, and then whatever, get married, have a life. And so I'm like, oh, everything will be fine. I'm on the path. And I didn't really think too hard about it. And then I got to the end of my path. I'm like, oh, fuck. This is not where I want to be, I don't think. So yeah, that makes sense to me of like, yeah, if you're just focusing on certain goals, you might not think about it more broadly.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I think the one experiment that he brought up was like they had a bunch of people at like a bottom of like a steep, like rigorous hill, and they told like the control group like, "Tell me about your favorite movie" or something like that, and then they told the experiment group, "What is like a goal that you have for the end of the day or the end of the week or something like that." And then they make them climb the hill, which is like this taxing task. And then they ask them like a quiz on like how they feel, how purposeful they feel in life. And the people who like climb the hill and have been thinking about their goal were like, man, I didn't get my goal done. All I did was climb this fucking hill, you know? And then the people who like were talking about their favorite movie was like felt more purposeful, right? Like they're like, whatever. Like my goal is just to get the top of this hill, I guess. Or like, they're not really thinking of like their goal. They're just thinking, this is what I was told to do.
Right.
Pretty interesting.
I'll have to check out that podcast.
Yeah. Doesn't help the existential dread.
Well, another thing that I was thinking about in regards to this whole conversation is how destructive labels can be, even labels that are considered good. Like, I've been thinking a lot about lately how much being called smart when I was growing up fucked me up. Like, I think that really did a number on how I think about things and how I perceive myself. And yeah, it's just bad. Like when you're told you're smart your entire life, one, you start to think it's like a genetic trait, which is just not true. Secondly, it's a super broad term. It doesn't really encapsulate what you're
different types of intelligence.
Exactly. It doesn't encapsulate what you're specifically maybe good at. Three is, well, I guess with regard to the first one way that I think that's fucked me up is that I have like this issue where I avoid situations where I could be like exposed as not smart. Like if something is going to be too hard or I don't know enough about it, I just like won't engage with it at all because I have to be the smart person, so I should do my research beforehand or something to that nature, which isn't great. And then the other thing is like I think something recently that's been affecting me is when you're told you're smart a lot growing up, you like try to see yourself or you think of like other people who are smart, like scientists or I'll say scientists, that's what I'm thinking about. It's like I'm smart, scientists are smart, so I should be like a scientist or I'd be a good scientist, right? Which may or may not be the case because like again, smart is super broad and necessarily say what you'd be good at.
Mm-hmm.
Or I if this scientist or this smart person likes this thing, then I should also like it. And you start to kind of lose who you actually are to like this label. Um, so yeah, that's something I've been trying to kind of unravel in myself lately. I'm like, is this actually something that I believe in or think that is true, or does it just something that someone else kind of pinned on me without me realizing it?
Do you think that that last one has to do with like wasted potential? Because like if
Yeah.
people are like, oh, like you're so smart and like look at what these other smart people accomplished, then it's like if you don't accomplish that level, then it's like, am I actually like smart? Did I like waste that?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
Hmm.
That's a huge thing. It's like I'm a smart person. I could never, be like a manager at McDonald's for my entire life because that's not what smart people do. I'd be wasting my intelligence or whatever.
right?
Um, and that's yeah, super destructive. Like that's
Yeah,
you might not even consider a job that you would actually be very good at and enjoy because it's not a typical role for a quote unquote smart person.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I don't know. I've definitely thought about that as well. Cause like, on one of in the weekly existential crisis, I was like, man, it'd be really cool to like open up like a gear shop or something like that, like a gear shop
Hmm.
that like outdoor gear, and like that did like guides places and like do that. But then I'm like, it'd be kind of weird if I did that, like an engineer like jumping over to that, like.
Hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that like kind of like turned me away from it was like the whole like wasted potential aspect of it. It's like I spent 4 years, 4+ years of my life like just studying to become an engineer, and then is it is it like worth it to just like do something completely different now? I don't know.
Yeah. And that's I think that what you're thinking, which I've definitely felt as well, is like also like a product of like capitalist society because it's all about like your worth is defined by your
Yeah.
success and by success meaning money, and it's just like you always have to be. I remember I still have I just have like flashbacks how frustrated I was at Michigan Tech Career Services on how like on your ass they were about like you got to get a job like you have to and like do all the specific things. Like went there a couple times like just get like resume advice, and they were just
Mhm.
like all over me. And I just like hated it. I always hated being at a job and them talking about like, well, in order to climb the career ladder, you got to do this, this, and this. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't care about. I don't have any pride in that regard about like becoming, a higher up on the thing. Like, I don't need that
Mhm.
much money to live. Like, I really don't. I don't care about money at all. But that's not what society, teaches. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
totally here, you dude.
I've definitely like have considered finding something like a little bit more like a quieter town or like somewhere in the future to move to, and it is in the back of my head a lot of like, well, I don't want to like go backwards from where I'm at right now, like,
Right.
you know, career wise or money wise. When like really, it's like if I'm happy. Why does it fucking matter?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but it's always something that's kind of in the back of my head.
Well, to that end, Gabe, something that I think about all the time without, and I haven't realized it, but like whenever I see okay, so in Castlevania, Gabe, I know you watched Castlevania.
I
At
have.
the end of Castlevania, they beat
Oh, I
all the
know what
bad
you're talking
guys. They beat all the bad guys, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna build a new town like right here." And whenever I see that, like I see like an or like like games like The Witcher, Dayton of like old school like towns, like medieval towns, like okay, like this
Mhm.
person's the blacksmith, and this person's the leather worker, and everyone has like a simple job to help out the community. I'm like, I would fucking love to live in one of those places. Like, go back in time and live in that kind of community because it just feels like you're doing something that actually helps people and it's like more direct and it's like I'm making like I'm part of a bigger thing. you know, and that's why I like games like Stardew Valley. Like I've sung so many hours of Stardew Valley because you're like, it's simple farming life and you're building a community and stuff. And I actually ended up seeing a TikTok about it a while ago about how a lot of people crave that. I forgot the term she used. I'll say like simple crafting culture or whatever. A lot of people crave it because instead of like a soulless, you know, corporate job, it's like you're actually like it's more directly helping people and you feel like you're making an actual difference. And it's everything's just simpler.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I do get some pleasure out of helping my coworkers, though. Honestly, I don't know if Dana's about to say the same thing.
No,
like,
I wasn't. Completely different.
Oh, okay. It's probably not to the same degree, but there are points where it's like, you know, people will come to me for help with something that I know, and I'll go to them for help. You know, it's like it was good.
Yeah.
It's not exactly like, you know, I'm saving the town or the community or anything. I'm helping a company make money. But it's not. I don't know. You get some pleasure out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. Like, I like being able to like help out people at work. I think that it's a good feeling. But where I was gonna go with this was that like, if you if you think about homesteading, right? Like people like being like completely rejecting, you know, I'll just say that the mainstream culture and just like homesteading, you know, farming, you know, having some animals and just like making it on your own. That is like one thing, like kind of like going back to like the what type of shit are you best able to deal with better than anybody else? The people who make it as homesteaders, I think like they are people that are okay with physical labor better than like any other person and are willing to just like work for a long time, right? Like they're not going to be able to work for 8 hours a day and then go sit on their ass for, you know, the remaining like 6 hours in the day watching TV. Like they're probably going to be working like, you know, 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, but it's not going to be structured work. It's like, oh, I should probably go do this, should probably go do that. And, oh, you know, I'm going to take like an hour and a half lunch break here, just, you know, pet my dog, you know, go on a hike, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think that that sort of lifestyle is a lot harder than a lot of people realize. Like,
I think
like,
you're correct. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying I want to in 2021 go do that. I'm saying I want to go back in time when
There's no other choice.
there's no other choice. Exactly. Like there's no choice of modern convenience. Like I have to do this or I die. So
Right.
I have to be okay with it. I don't think I can do that now. I would
Right. And just
not
sort of
last
like
a week.
romanticizing the aspect of it.
Exactly. It's more the romanticism I'm getting at. It's like it feels a lot more satisfying in concept.
No, I
than-
completely
I
agree
do-
with that.
I do think part of like, I mean, I don't know if you've gone through this phase yet, where like, I mean, it sounds like Dayton has to some extent, where I will try and find other things that I think I might be good at to explore, and like, well, what if I just pivoted to this and like did this instead? I think part of the reason that that is so appealing to me is I don't know all of the things that suck about it yet, or like I don't know, like I only know the good parts, right? Like if you don't really know, I mean, grass is always greener is such a dumb fucking phrase, but it's true.
I feel like we say that every single week because it's always applicable.
Yeah, but like I genuinely think like, you know, sometimes I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll move somewhere else, you know, switch jobs or whatever. I want this type of thing. I want this type of thing. But really, like, I probably would realize, wow, that was really good, and now I don't like this about that, you know, about this new thing. And that's probably, if I like remind myself that, it kind of keeps me a lot more grounded about quote unquote purpose or dream or career change, geography, like living change. It's like if I like change my dream or like manifest a new dream, like I know myself. I'm gonna find some part of it that's like, this isn't that great. You know? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's something I've been struggling with. I mentioned before is I don't think about the things that could be not as good. I was like, it'll be fine. I'll just try this out. And then when things aren't that great, I'm like disappointed because I wasn't. Well, I didn't want that to be true, but also I wasn't really like thinking about anticipating it. So yeah, that's something I need to work on as well.
You just
Like,
reminded
Dane's
me
about
of
to tell you
something.
that.
You just reminded me.
I did?
So, no, Jacob did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fuck you, Gabe.
Well, I guess both technically, because the
Come on over.
conversation the conversation topic stemmed from you, but then Jacob expanded upon it. But anyway, so I was on a run with one of my friends out here, and like we were gone for like I don't know 2.5 hours or something like that. So like naturally conversation topics like just like waivers like all over the place, right? Like
Hmm.
we didn't stick with one topic, but one of the topics that we were both talking about was like moving to somewhere else, not necessarily like jobs or anything like that, but just like purely like locations. Um, and my my like I'll say like predisposition to like thinking about that is like thinking about my current situation and then how it could possibly be worse than what I have right now, right? Like I have a good group of friends out here. The area isn't bad. It's on the ocean. It's pretty nice. Um, like all things considered. But he like spun it completely differently for me and he was like, "Well, have you ever thought about what you're missing out on by actively choosing to stay where you are right now?" And
That's
I
such a
was
dangerous line of thought, I feel like.
and I
That's
was
how
like and I was just like
I see it.
I was like son of a bitch, like what am I missing out on by like living here and like actively saying I'm going to live here for X more months, X more years, X more decades. And I don't know. Like I don't have an answer for that. And it's gonna depend on everybody's situation, but it's just like I don't know, it makes you think.
I think, okay, that line of thinking I think can be helpful, but I feel like that can go down a very dark path very quickly where you can like intellectualize out your happiness in your current situation because you'll think I'm missing out on so much that I'm realizing that oh, all my life sucks here when just before you were saying no, it's actually it's fine.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, right? It's like if
yeah,
if I were like compare like where I'm living now to like, Connecticut or to New Hampshire or like Vermont or something like that and just being like, "Oh, you know, there's like mountains that are so much closer." So like I would be able to like by actively choosing to stay here, I'm limiting the amount of times that I can go up there. Uh
yeah.
and go into those and not being like, man, like I'm so far away from the mountains here. Like, I don't know. So I'm not going like as far as you're trying to take it, I guess is what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
I think I have a pretty similar thought experiment a lot when I do think about moving because I'll be like, man, I could be like snowboarding 3 times a week, or like, not that the trails are bad here, is like mountain bike at really good trails every day. But again, I think like thinking about that, I kind of forget what is good here. Like I do have a friend group. I do have a. I mean, the job's pretty decent. Pays pretty damn well for like what I have to actually do. Uh, and the location isn't like terrible. It's not like super expensive or anything. But it's like, man, the things you miss, I feel like hit harder than the things you have sometimes.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
now we're just back to grass always greener. You
I
know,
know, but I don't
It
know.
we're
goes
all going
full
full circle.
circle.
I know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I have very similar thoughts to that as well.
Going back to the label thing, I think another label that hit me harder than I thought it did was introvert. Because I do believe I'm mostly an introvert in that I need time to recharge after having like a lot of social interaction. But I think being like told I'm an introvert via whatever tests or surveys made me I like internalize this thought of like I don't want to be around people. I don't want my job to be focused on people. Um, and I'm realizing lately that like I don't think that's 100% the case. Like I don't really want to I don't want to work in like clinical where I'm a dietitian and have to deal with people in that way. But I think I was very adverse to working in a group. Um, but I've kind of realized lately that as much as I've complained in the past about bad group projects and somebody not pulling their weight, I do my best work when I'm in a group setting, and I'm the most motivated when I need other people to rely on me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I just think being in quote called an introvert my entire life, I kind of closed off some possible like career options that I wasn't thinking about before.
The thing that I've heard about like with like the whole introvert versus extrovert debate is like I've I've heard that it's only like you should think of it as like how you gain energy, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're an introvert, you gain energy by being alone, and if you're an extrovert, then you gain energy by being with people. And
Hmm.
I would consider myself an introvert definitely, but I would also consider myself very uh like I like socializing with people. Like I like
Hmm.
having contact with them. But at the end of the day, I still need time like alone in order to like, charge the battery, so to speak. And
Yep.
I think that's where like that misconception is, right? Like by being labeled an introvert, it's not saying that you don't like talking to people, you don't like dealing with people. It's just saying that you can do it, but then you're going to be like tired after it.
Yep. Exactly. And like I
So,
definitely I learned that part of it later on, and I
mm-hmm,
know that, but I think because my first time hearing the word introvert, you get that first idea, and then it just
mm-hmm,
like is in
it
your
latches
unconscious, and it
on.
just like latches on.
Uh,
I feel like it's almost like part of, not realizing there's something that you're good at because you don't try it almost. Like you don't
Mhm.
realize it's even like you just kind of write it off in your head like, oh, this is gonna be something I like because XYZ. Like, oh, I wouldn't like groups because, I've had bad groups in the past. I'm introverted. Then you try and you're like, this shit is actually kind of good. Or you're like, man, this game only has 64 squares and it's thousands of years old. How good it could it be? And then you think it's dumb, and then you start playing. And you're like, wow, chess is really fun. Like that
Gabe,
tie-in.
so I was talking to Lissa about this, and
about
about
what?
like you might not maybe really good something you never tried it, so you don't know.
Yeah.
I said jokingly, "What if I would be like a prolific porn star, but I just don't know because I haven't had sex yet? You
Uh-huh.
know, I mean, that could be my calling. I just don't know."
Maybe you never know. Maybe that's your purpose. Sometimes it finds you. Listen to that
Highly
podcast.
doubt that to be the case, but it also is kind of scary. It's like, yeah, what if I just never tried the thing that like would be the spark?
I feel like that's the exciting part. I think that's why I try so many things. It's like maybe there's something that I never thought would be interesting to me. But I think even some of it, I mean, I'm not old, I'm 23. But there are points where there's been like things like when I was younger, I'm like, this is fucking lame. And then I try when I'm older, I'm like, holy shit, this is cool. I see why
mm-hmm.
people do it. Like
Hmm.
I think that's the exciting thing about life is like you know, as I get older or like my interests change or like the way I see the world changes, there's new opportunities for me to try to learn new things or like try to experiment with things. And maybe there are things that I absolutely hated when I was younger, but they're super fun or super interesting and enjoyable for me in the future.
I wish I was like you and that prospect excited me, but instead it scares me because I get scared I'm not picking the correct thing. I'm not if I have two options, I pick the wrong one and the other one is like the one that's the source.
Man,
Like
there's too
th-
many things.
But
Just
don't
there's
you
a,
try
there's
think
an
one every
that
old
few weeks.
don't you think
go
that
ahead.
inaction is worse than just picking one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get stuck with a decision paralysis a
Yeah,
lot. Like
yeah.
I just know opening Netflix, I can't even pick a fucking show to watch. I can't pick a,
See,
I
you
have
know.
a I have a notepad in my phone of things I want to try, and I just when I'm like, okay, I'm losing interest in this, I just go, boop, next thing, and try it.
dude, with decision paralysis, the way that I have combated it recently is just to be more impulsive. Uh, like I was like, man, I need to buy like two more pairs of running shoes, because I just like threw two other pairs out that I had worn out, and I was like, man, like what am I gonna get? Like there's so many good running shoes out there,
Yeah,
but
start doing
then
research, and you get like way too into
yeah,
it.
yeah. So then instead I just went to REI, and I just filtered by what's on sale, what's in my size, and like just picked out two random uh or one like road running shoe, and then two new pairs of trail runners. Called it good. They're gonna get here Saturday, and I guess I'll see what happens. But
Dude,
Mm.
you just reminded me actually. So two other addictions I've had. I found two new YouTube channels I'm watching a lot recently. One of them is called Daryl Talks Games, and he has a series called Psych of Play, where he
mhm.
analyzes the psychology of video games, playing video games. And the other one is Game Maker's Toolkit, which is analyzing different aspects of game design. I can't remember which channel it was on, unfortunately, but one of them, I was probably Daryl's channel. This video about in games like having too many options can
Mhm.
lead to unhappiness, where
Mhm.
people are actually happier when they have less options and there's no choice to like make those options bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's called the Yeah, it was a Daryl video about Animal Crossing. It's called the maximization paradox, I think.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and basically, yeah, people think they'll be happier. People like us that do a lot of research, we think they'll be happier if it's like, well, I gotta check every single store, every single option, and then at the end of the day, we're not as happy as a person who's just like, oh, I'll just go into REI and see what's on sale.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And I
it's
There's
mean
just not
that's
interesting.
that's why I like shopping at Aldi, like high key, because I have one
Yeah,
option. It's like,
you have
oh,
one
one
I,
option,
choice.
I
one
want
option.
animal crackers. All right, I'm getting animal crackers.
The Aldi brand, yeah, you get the Aldi brand. There's a podcast called Happiness Lab that goes about the illusion of choice and how you think it would make you happier, but it doesn't. It's,
Mhm.
it's really interesting.
One last thing I wanted to mention with this whole thing, because we've talked about this a lot, Gabe, especially the idea of trying much different things, is I feel like we're all pretty what society would call well-rounded people, and that we have a lot of different interests in a lot of different categories, which I think on the whole is good. But I've thought about recently, what if it's also there's kind of it's a double-edged sword? Because sometimes I feel like being interested in so many different things and being a jack of all trades, like you can't really. I feel like I can't like fit in with any one of those communities because everyone in that community is like more into it than I am. Um, like for example, anime, obviously. I'm not gonna go to Purdue Anime Club. You know what I mean? Because the people there are not me. They're not necessarily like how I feel about things. I just
Mhm.
know that immediately. Same with if I went to like a mountain biking club or a video game club. Like I guess I'm using the terms of clubs, so like I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but it's like I'm in all these things like a little bit, and I like learning about a lot of different things a little bit, but I never really go so far into it, and then I don't feel like I belong to anything. I'm just like in the middle of everything, and it feels kind of isolating sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's still kind of going back to the thing you said earlier, where you were like, what's the point of learning chess if I can't know all the strategies,
Yeah,
right? And it's like
yeah,
basically what you're saying is I'm not going to go to this club because I'm not going to be the top person there.
yeah,
I don't really care if there's people that know more stuff than me. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I don't know, like mountain biking. I'm definitely not, the best rider on any trailhead I've ever been to. There's always gonna be people that better than me who ride every day, and that's their thing. That's like their one thing, and I admire their passion for that. But at the same time, it's like like I value my like openness to trying things more than I do feeling the need to be in a community. And I think I connect with people the most who are willing to try different stuff with me.
Hmm.
Like
And being able
I
to
got a bunch
share
of
your
people at work
interests.
yeah, I got a bunch of people at work on a whim to fucking play a stupid game all week. And it's been super fun. And I respect like that they've been able to just drop, just try it, try it with me. And they're not like, oh man, this shit sucks. I'm never playing this ever, or I even have Tim and playing or doing mountain bike trips with him and other friends and have brought me into sports. I mean, Dayton got me into mountain biking. You unfortunately got me into anime. I mean, but at the same time, I've gotten you guys into shit. Like I don't know.
hmm
I respect those people the most, and I think I connect with those people more. So that's what's valuable to me.
yeah,
That's my
yeah.
rebuttal. Drops
Well,
mic.
I think I prefer that, but I think Dayton's right. Is it goes back to the smart thing. If I can't be one of the smart people there, I don't want to be there because that invalidates me being a smart person as society has told me I am,
Mm.
which is super fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always like a desire you want to be good at something right away, but
hmm
it's not how shit works, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to end this. I guess we brought up a lot of questions that don't really have answers.
Well, I think
Um,
you should finish it with what's your purpose, and then just you, and then we'll end the podcast.
once I figure it out, I'll let you guys know for sure.
You have 5 seconds.
Yeah, if anybody listening has some insider answers, leave us a comment on Instagram or on YouTube or something. But hopefully you could relate to something we've talked about today. I hope,
Yeah,
I like to believe everyone has dealt with or is dealing with these kind of questions, even though no one really talks about it. Um, but yeah,
DM us your existential dread.
please do. We can make that a new segment on the podcast. The weekly
Yes,
existential
we'll read it anonymously.
dread.
But like in a really sarcastic voice. This person wants to be a baker.
Just absolutely shit on your dreams.
Just shit on your dreams. Yeah, that's next episode.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. Again, you can always find our show on Mondays on YouTube and podcast services. Please follow us on Instagram and Twitch, where we're live Thursday nights and Monday nights. But yeah, until next week, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.